across Texas. The issue is.
I'm Stephen Dial in Dallas.
I'm Greg Krugen in Houston.
I'm Rudy Koski in Austin, and this is Texas. The issue is.
Fall is near, and that means two things: football, college football, and the State Fair of Texas. But there may be politics with the side of corny dogs. The fair officials have banned LTC card holders from bringing their concealed carry weapons inside this year's fair, and it has the Attorney General and a lot of Republicans mad.
Allowing Texans to exercise lawfully their Second Amendment rights increases safety, and that's why I was appalled to see and really disappointed to see the State Fair of Texas take this action to ban Texans from exercising their Second Amendment rights on the fairgrounds. If their goal is to maximize safety, this actually reduces safety. It does the exact opposite of that. We know the data shows that. This isn't just my opinion. The overwhelming majority of mass shootings happen in places where guns are banned. So this is a bad decision, and I hope they reconsider it.
70 Republicans in the Texas House sent a letter to the State Fair of Texas urging them to reconsider banning guns from the fairgrounds. Historically, licensed to carry card holders could bring their concealed weapons inside. In a press conference, fair officials changed the policy. It comes in the wake of a shooting last year where 3 people were injured. The suspect, Cameron Turner, was not licensed, and police say he somehow got the gun past security, despite a new metal detection process. Licensed to carry holders weren't banned last year, and 3 people were shot. What would be your response to that?
Yeah, and that's tragic, and it's really unfortunate. But here's the reality. If we're trying to increase safety, banning firearms, stopping Texans from exercising the Second Amendment is not the correct way to do this. And the data bears this out. The majority of mass shootings are actually stopped by armed citizens exercising their Second Amendment rights. So if you're concerned about those types of acts of violence, then taking away, in fact, making it illegal or prohibiting Texans from protecting themselves and their family and their friends is the exact wrong thing to do. Even if it's done with the best of intentions, the data do not lie. When you ban firearms, you reduce safety.
Fair officials say they stand by their decision.
We will respond to them directly, as well as, we want to make sure that they know that they're heard. We hear them. However, this is the policy that our board of directors, as a nonprofit organization that we are managed by, feel that this is a measure that we need to take to create a safe environment for everyone who is out here.
The fair emphasizes that more than 200 armed police and security officers patrol the annual event. Brian Harrison from North Texas and other Republicans say if the policy is not changed, they will consider legislation in January to, in their words, protect Second Amendment rights on lands managed by the public. Is this just picking on the State Fair of Texas? I mean, I go to a Mavericks game, a Rangers game, you can't bring your gun. You go to a concert, Chris Stapleton at AT&T Stadium, you can't bring your gun. They said other fairs have the same policy in place. What would be your response to that?
This is absolutely not picking on one entity or one organization, but we're talking about one thing that historically has allowed Texans to exercise their Second Amendment rights. We are asking that they continue to do that. And look, you're going to be hard pressed to find me calling on anybody or supporting any gun bans or infringements on the Second Amendment. So listen, this has got nothing to do with the particulars here. This is about protecting the Constitution, protecting the Second Amendment, standing up for what my constituents want, and pushing for policies that do what all those things do together, and that's maximizing safety. I want the State Fair to be successful. I want Texans to be able to go and enjoy it. I want them to be safe doing it. And the way you harm or reduce their expected safety is to stop them from exercising their Second Amendment. The State Fair needs to reconsider this, and I hope they do.
All right, that was a lot. My word is hyphenated, seeking out. Rudy Koski, what is your word?
I'm going with a hyphen too, Stephen, and I'm going to the fair with this one. Fried butter.
Greg Krugen, I'm sure yours isn't as comical, but go ahead.
All right, Stephen, my word is contradiction.
Aha. All right, the Fox Texas Trio definitely has a lot to discuss on the other side of this break. The Fox 6 trio is back. As of this taping, the city of Dallas has not made any decision in reference to this. Now, things are a little complicated because while the fairgrounds are city property, the fair is not run by the city of Dallas. It's run by a private nonprofit. Rudy Koski, is there some substance to this, or is this Republicans seeking out a fight?
Well, you know, Stephen, to be fair, the board members with the state fair started this fight and certainly poked the bear. The reaction from Paxton and the gun rights posse, no surprise. You know, what's next? A ban on all deep fried food at the state fair, all in the name of being heart healthy? Is that coming next? Clearly, a reason for my modified word deep fried earlier. But, you know, this issue is certainly worth a serious discussion about crowd control, security screenings, and understanding that even though Texas is a constitutional carry state, there are limitations to that and a lot of confusion on how to apply this state law. Stephen?
Yeah, Representative Brian Harrison, who is from North Texas, Greg, he says that they're not picking on the fair, but there are other public spaces where people go to events, maybe an Astros game or something else down in Houston. What's your take?
Stephen, in my view, this is a stand-up collision of highly protected Texas property rights with highly protected Texas Second Amendment rights. And the Paxton Harrison gang believe they're entitled to have it both ways. Never mind that their demand is yet another infringement on the local control many Republicans claim to support. Now, that said, I'm guessing this is mostly an homage to their gun-toting base. As for not picking on the fair, well, Minute Maid Park, where the Astros play, and NRG Stadium, where the Texans play, are both owned by a quasi-governmental agency created by the legislature known as the Harris County Sports Authority. So if Paxton prevails at the state fair, could they be next? Remember also that all of these major venues, public and private, sell alcoholic beverages. No one has ever called me a prude, believe me, but just in general, I believe guns and any kind of booze will always be a very bad mix. Stephen?
It's definitely a hot button issue. Rudy, 70 lawmakers, Republican House members, signed on to this letter earlier this week. And, you know, does this just rejuvenate the fight about good guys with guns, or is that line getting played out?
Well, first of all, Greg teed it up. Greg, you're a prude. Now, getting back to your question, Stephen, it's a legitimate argument. Now, here's a few points that I've heard. I got an email from Scott Lewis. He was a gun rights advocate, now a gun reform advocate, and he raised a rational concern. And Greg kind of touched on this. Lewis stated you could make a case that there is the potential for a gun worn on a ride to dislodge from its holster, fly free, hit somebody at high speed, and that poses a greater risk to fairgoers than a violent criminal. Now, as to a reasonable security solution that does not punish the good guy that you mentioned, Stephen, I had an interesting conversation with Michael Cargill, a well-known gun rights advocate right here in Austin. Cargill suggested the state fair could set up a fast pass process like the one that's at the state capitol. Individuals who have a license to carry enter by checking in at a screening device. Straight through, no problem. Now, for those who want to exercise their right under constitutional carry and do not have a license, Cargill suggested the state fair could set up a holding area. IDs can be presented, background checks done. Certainly will slow things down, but it will prevent big techs from looking like California's Gavin Newsom. Stephen?
Wow. Greg Kruger, you'll have the last word on this. The fair official said that there is going to be 200 plainclothes and uniform officers. Is that not enough security for this grand old event?
Heck if I know. I mean, look, in a nation with more than 500 million guns in circulation, the genie is out of the bottle, and we now operate under a mutually assured destruction philosophy, meaning the bad guys don't know who is equipped to shoot back, which, by the way, I am. It is hardly a perfect system, but it's all we've got when the majority opts for unfettered Second Amendment rights. Good or bad, that deterrent disappears when guns are banned at mass gatherings. So whether it's 200 or 2,000 officers, they better get the job done, or this issue won't be up for debate very long in a conservative state that's already approved universal carry.
That's true. Well, we'll have to leave it there. To see this episode and any of our past ones, go to our station's YouTube channels.
And keep the conversation going by talking to us on social media.
A lot of emerging issues for next week, from the Democrat convention to keeping Texas military installations off the federal chopping block. Join us next week to see what hot topic we'll have. And remember, let us know what you think the issue is.